it's the proudest day and the proudest time in the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. You know, I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all was said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.
Welcome along to Krunching Gears, the Raly Podcast, Episode 3, Season 2. Connor, delighted to have you with me once again.
Kevin, thank you very much, and plenty of action happening both last weekend and coming up this weekend. Absolutely.
You know, we're going to look back in the Galway Rally, and then we'll look forward to Sweden. You know, what can we say? This Irish Rally scene, it just keeps reaching to a higher and higher level every time. We keep thinking it can't get any better. Galway was mind-blowing, really, wasn't it?
For many different reasons and on many different levels, but it was a fantastic Galway. The fact that it was mainly dry was a huge novelty this year. But just generally, you know, the quality of the stages, the quality of the field, the roller coaster of leaders, you know, and the changing of leaders throughout, particularly Saturday. It was brilliant, action-packed.
Yeah, and big likes of Patrick O'Brien, you know, setting, you know, a fastest time and a couple of second and third fastest times as well. You know, so that, you know, another name coming forward. You know, the old guard, I'm sure, you know, the likes of Declan Boyle, Gareth McHale. Maybe not fair to maybe put Robert Barwell into that group, but, you know, again, these guys come, Gary Jennings, you know, setting fantastic times over the weekend. And then, you know, the current crop as well. The entertainment value, second to none. I think it was Kellyanne, we probably mentioned this somewhere again before the podcast over. Kellyanne mentioned that, you know, the top two were scrapping for the outright one, and the car running, I think it was 9th or 10th in the road, come in and blitzed them. You know, where else in the world are you going to get it?
Look, you know, at times the top 5 or 6 were, you know, it was a handful of seconds between them. It was just incredible. Mm-hmm. And again, another couple of names to throw out there from the old guard. You had Tim McNulty out, and you had Eugene Donnelly sitting in the co-driver's seat, you know, as well. So, it really had everything this time around.
Absolutely. And then, you know, the modifieds, the historics, the juniors. It was the rally that kept on giving. The Willer, you know, dry Willer in Galway was a bit of a, and then the frost on Sunday as well. But I think it all added to it. And, you know, the wee sure, there was a kind of the middle loop, there was a kind of a sure rain. And that mixed things up too, because some guys were caught out in the wrong tyres on the third stage. The kind of the rain come on before, or no, maybe it was, whatever stage it was, I can't remember now.
Second loop, on the Saturday.
And that provided its own entertainment as well, you know. So it was. I keep saying this, you know, this rally, this Irish rally keeps raising the bar higher and higher, but brilliant.
Look, the quality that we have out there at the moment between drivers, co-drivers, and machinery, we really do, like, you know, this is good times for Irish rallying. It genuinely is, and at the moment it all looks good, and it looks good on the horizon as well. So long may it continue.
Absolutely, yeah. Because you know, we have the polo, you know, which is, you know, still the class act. You know, the Hyundai, the new Hyundai, the Citroens. You know, yes, there's a couple of Fiestas through in the mix there. Gary Jennings in a 10-year-old car. I keep coming back to it, you know. It's fantastic to see. You know, we have such strength and depth. The Skoda's through in there as well too. You know, so. And the Citroen, how many started the rally? 4 or 5, and I think there's more to come now before West Cork. Is this going to be the new Polo? Is this the car we're going to rave about this year?
Well, quite possibly. You know, it really is. It's a strong contender out there. And one man that might get overlooked this week, you know, from his performance from the weekend was Cahan McCourt. Unfortunately, because Cahan went out on Sunday morning. But boy, you know, like, he was holding Sam at bay and nipping at the heels of Josh at times. And
And led at a point as well, too.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah.
incredible run by Cathal McCourt.
Yeah, and looked very comfortable. He didn't seem to be getting flustered or nothing. And Josh had hit him at that corner as well. So, it was one of those corners that was going to catch somebody out, and unfortunately, it was Catherine this time.
Yeah, just unfortunately. So, as I say, he might be somebody that gets overlooked, but his performance was good up until that point.
Definitely, without a doubt. So, I think without further ado, I think we'll cut across and speak to the winners, Meirion Evans and JJ Jackson. What can we say? What a performance, but we'll let the boys tell you all about it.
Yeah, thank you for having us again. New year, and we're back on after Galway this year with one better, like we asked for last year, which was good.
Yeah. Yeah. And what was the hopes going into the weekend? Did you hope to be fighting at the front, or what? Was it just start again with a clean sheet of paper this year, or what was your thoughts really?
It's a clean sheet. It's a new year, but the aim is always the same, to go and win. We knew we'd been close a few times last year. Really, we obviously got it over the line at the Ulster. Yes, the monkey was off the back for an international win, but still, you feel that people would talk and say, "Oh, Josh was driving around," and all that, so he wasn't racing. But we've proven this weekend that we can beat anyone. So we knew we could do it. We always believed that. So you don't go. Well, we don't go to these rallies anyway. Like anybody else, to come second or third. It's impossible to win every rally. We all know that, but still, it was good. And I think on Saturday night, I think I made it quite clear I wasn't too happy with the time we'd lost, but we got our heads down Saturday night, got to work, and got out of bed on the right side on Sunday morning. I think that's the fair thing to say.
Yeah, and Jonathan, I don't know, but personally, I think there's a different Meirion this year. Last year, I think Meirion, if he'd got to bed on Saturday night and fourth place, the head might have went down a wee bit, but he came out this year on Sunday morning fighting. Did you see a different side of him, or is this the way it's been all along? We just haven't seen this side of him.
I think to an extent it's been that way all along. But this year, after Ulster, I think the confidence is up. New year, it's the start of like you say, a clean sheet. And after all the work over the winter, I think we knew the package underneath us is good. We worked hard over the winter. Believe it or not, I've even joined a gym. That's why it snowed over the winter. It's always been there, but we're seeing more of that steely determination now, because now the first win is done, the confidence is there to push for another and keep that momentum going.
And Meirion, from your point of view, you talk about getting the monkey off your back almost with the Ulster and all. Is that palpable in the car? Do you feel an inner confidence now that maybe you hadn't got before?
Yeah, there's a few things I felt a different level of focus, to be honest. I think I managed myself pretty well. It was the atmosphere at the end of the Black Road when we took the lead was pretty big. I think Killian had built quite a big atmosphere there, and there's a lot of people there as well. And I think it's just managing your emotions. Like I said before to someone, we weren't expecting to go on that stage in the lead. I think we were hoping that we could put a dent in his lead, but still, it'd have been, realistically, I thought we weren't going to come out of there in the lead. So it was a bit of a shock when he told us, but you have to move on really quickly with that. We only had 10, 15 minutes of road section to the next stage, and I had to collect my thoughts and put a new plan into action, because the plan was, our service, we were going to chase him over that loop and see where we are the next service. But obviously after one stage, we were now leading the rally. So, you have to adapt a bit. But yeah, overall, I think, the win last year definitely helped. It helped my mindset and how I manage those situations. But I think it's, like Jay just said, I think we put a work into ourselves and obviously the car and everything over the winter to try and bridge the gap to Josh. And at times Callum last year as well was a bit ahead. So, we knew what we had to do. And to be fair, it's just having the confidence that you've done everything you can that puts you in a good place then.
Yeah. And I've been following you there on social media, and sure other people have as well. We've seen the work you've been putting in the gym, all that. That all comes into play whenever the going gets tough. You have that that strength of body and mind.
Yeah, absolutely. It's working with good people as well. Like the guy I work with he's a great guy. Obviously, works with a lot of really good athletes. So it's not just. I'm not calling myself an athlete, but it's not just the physical side of it. It's the confidence it can give you mentally and everything like that as well. And some of the other things we did as well. We worked with some really good people, and it gets you into really, really kind of positive train of thought with how you go about your business. So. Yeah, I'd like to think we learned a lot probably from August last year onwards over the winter, and we really have to kind of just put it into practice and keep it at that level. We both take it seriously, so we want to succeed as much as possible. So I guess we'll do what it takes.
Absolutely.
Meirion, you mentioned there, the work to the polo over the winter. Like, there's been quite a bit of new machinery has come to the championship this year, and new Rally 2s, etc. How do you keep the polo relevant and up to date?
Oh, there's nothing you can do kind of in terms of, there are no updates for it. The car is essentially the same as what it was last year. There was some maintenance obviously we had to do to the car, like the engine had to be rebuilt and everything like that. And so you have basically a fresh car. We freshened everything, and you just make the best of what you've got. Basically, it's. The good thing with R5 is that the class is quite restricted, so there's not a hell of a lot you can do. I mean, the car that won last year was even older than the Polo, so it's not a major issue. But yeah, I believe that the car we have under us is the best car, and that's important. Again, like I said, mentally, for me, you get to a point, I think, with everything, and in many sports, I think where. If you feel you have the best car, I feel like I have the best team. So there's not really many excuses. And I think last year it was fair to say some of the rallies we were down on experience, but when you're coming back to the third or fourth time, it's harder to use that, and you've got to be a bit honest with yourself and really sort of just try and do the business.
Yeah, and like John, you talk about this, coming with the confidence. You've been here before, whenever you start on the Saturday morning and you're going back to Black Road and that, do you bring the old notes with you, or is it a clean sheet of paper? Where do you start from at the start of a recce?
It starts kind of a few weeks before that, to be honest. As soon as you see the road closures or stuff are out, then you'll immediately start plotting them into maps, working out, as best as you can anyway, with the free information that's available online and stuff, working out where you're going. And then you immediately start to build a picture. Then, I can go start looking through past year's notes, fishing them out, scanning them, sending them to Mez, so then he can start looking as well. So by the time you get to the recce, you're generally in a good place. Roughly kind of where you're going and what you've used before. You'll be able to, hunt out on YouTube, see what videos are about, what in-car we have ourselves. So it just gives you that level of familiarity. When you're turning up, not everything's brand new. Okay, this year we had a couple of new stages. So from that, you kind of wholly reliant on the DVD. Unless, especially if they've not been used for a number of years, then there's not much on YouTube then. But you're turning up that level of familiarity, and that helps you through the event then. Even on a road section during the event, you'll know roughly how long you've got between point A and point B because you've been there before. So that just all helps with the planning, and it all comes back to, being confident at the start. If you're familiar with the lay of the land, it makes life a hell of a lot easier.
It's prepared. Was it prepared to fail to, or what is it? I don't even know how to say it.
The other way around.
Preparations in place before you get there, isn't it? Yeah. So.
Yeah. And Jonathan, just I suppose the mood in the car, Sunday morning, you're 19.9 seconds off the lead coming out of Park Ferme, and then you hear the first stage of the day's cancelled on Sunday. Like, did that throw a spanner in the works, or were you able to mentally regroup and go, no, we can still do this?
You quickly mentally regroup. It's quite frustrating. It's quite frustrating when the one stage in the rally, particularly from quite recent history, you go very well on. The first run is cancelled. Oh God, that it's quite frustrating. But for reasons you can understand, ice isn't fun on slick tires. So, and the organisers had to make that tough decision. So we have to respect that. You still get the drive through, so we still had the ability to go through and check the notes again
and jump on the brakes on the ice to see how bad it was.
But yeah, it was a little frustrating, but for reasons we understand. So.
And like Meirion, like you've seen some of the headlines after the rally that Josh made a mistake and you won the rally, but like you won that rally fair and square. Like you set more fastest times over the weekend. You were more second fastest times over the weekend. Like you didn't benefit from anybody else's errors. You dug deep and took the rally one.
Yeah, I think what happened last year on the Black Road might have been in his head a bit as well. I think people coming through before the rally or before like Sunday said, "Oh, you're good on that stage," So yeah, to be honest, I didn't expect the time difference to be as big as last year. But A, it was dry, and B, he'd had a year to work out kind of maybe how we did that to him. But he made a mistake. I think Josh drives kind of, you can see from videos, he drives he's very committed, let's say. So Sometimes things will happen, before I've made a mistake and slipped out of contention. So it's a part of the sport. So yeah, it's just one of those.
Absolutely. And the jubilation at the end on, at the end of the last stage, like was it as good as the Ulster?
I was better, but Andy Hayes tried to spoil it for me because he tried to play a joke on us.
Yeah.
Which wasn't nice. I'll never forgive him for that. But look, I think this one was a bit, like I said before, the Ulster being the first will always be special. But I think the thing here was it's the first round of the championship and everybody's gone there, and we've come on top. And I think the following the rally had as well, just the way the rally panned out with the different leaders and so many guys in contention over the 2 days. A few people have said to me that it's probably one of the most entertaining rallies they've watched for years, in terms of following it online. And the amount of people from home that I could see, I've had a quick look back over one or two of Killian's videos, and the people from home commenting and everything, it was just great for me to see, Yeah,
because like it really was. I think Galway 2023 is going to go down and as one of the all-time great Irish Tarmac rallies, because the amount of changes of lead, like the new guys coming through, the old guard stepping back up, the Gary Jennings, the Gareth McHale's, all coming back and setting really competitive times. Declan Boyle's finding a wee bit of form again as well. The rally really had everything, hadn't it?
Oh, it did. It had everything. Like, to be fair, it even had rain, and in Galway, it treated to some sunshine as well, and it like threw everything at you, really, I think the rally was great in terms of a spectacle. I think for people watching, I think me and Josh had a bit of a joke in post-event after the rally that I think the aggregate now is he's 1.4 seconds up on me in Galway over the last 2 years. So we'll go back next year and settle it.
Try to turn it the other way.
Yeah.
And Conor, you were looking to jump in there?
Yeah, obviously this is a really good start to the campaign this year, put you in a really good footing. How are you going to approach West Cork?
The same as always, I think, is the simple answer. It's got to be, you don't change anything just because you've won once. I mean, the task is going to be just as hard as if we'd have finished second last weekend. It's a different rally, and I think everybody's aware Callum didn't have the best of weekends in Galway, but I'm sure he'll have his tail up for West Cork. It's somewhere he always goes well, and there'll be a lot of other guys. I mean, Robert Barrable kind of slipped under the radar. He was on a really good pace, just had a problem at the end of Saturday. And he's won down there before, and obviously you have your usual candidates, the Moffats and everything. So you're going to have to just approach it as any other rally, really, and put everything into it, because I think in West Cork as well, the rally's so fast, you just can't drop the ball, so you lose a ball at a time. So.
There was something Killian said there on Sunday, and it's never Patrick O'Brien set fastest time. Like yourself and Josh were going hammer and tongs for the one, and like you were taking every cut, everything that was possible. And like Patrick O'Brien comes in, who was running like 9th, 10th in the road, and takes 4 seconds out of you. Yeah. That shows the strength and depth of Irish rally, and that you can't even be sure after the first 3 or 4 cars. Like,
No.
the car coming in 10th in the road, setting fastest times.
The quality through the field was really good at the weekend. I mean, I think at one point on Saturday there was 6 seconds between 6 of us, and then you just think like you could be leading, you could drop to 6th in one stage and have a spin in the next one, and you could be back to 10th or 11th.
Yeah.
And you know that's critical if you're going for a championship. It's a big thing, you know, because you know I have nothing against the British Championship, but you know in the past you've seen that guys have made mistakes and come back to finish 3rd. But I think with the amount of quality in Ireland now, you know, don't get me wrong, the pace in the BRC is just as high at the top as the Irish Tarmac Championship, but the depth in Ireland, you can't allow mistakes, so you can drop so many points in the championship, and that's kind of at this point of the year as well. You know, you don't think about a championship, but like Dad said to me in the car as soon as we started driving home, was it's one win less that you'll need later in the year. But you know, to have one on the board as early as possible in a championship is important, and now we can just go about it and try to build.
Another thing, like, there was one of my mates was down with me, Joe Sharp, pointed out as well. Like, from the top 20 that was released, there was 2 non-starters, and only 3 of that top 20 failed to finish. Like, that's also, like, you know, there was 15 drivers started that still got to the finish, and each and every one of them at least expected maybe top 5, if not podium. Like,
yeah.
That, you know, this is really going to be a golden era of Irish rallying in the future.
It really is, and I think people have to kind of realize that as well, because usually you only see something as a golden era when it's gone, you know.
Yeah.
Like you look at the 17 cars in the World Championship now, everybody realized they were like the best thing since sliced bread as soon as we got a hybrid car, which in my mind is good. But you know, it's exactly like that. The era we're in is really good. I mean, the fights you get, the battles, and I think it shows how far rallying's come forward. You know, the reliability of cars, you know, the quality of, I suppose the quality of the driver was always there, but now obviously with the tools we have available to us with DVDs and videos and in cars, you know, YouTube and everything, you can put so much work into to try and minimize, you know, the risk of making mistakes on events. So it's a really good time, I think. And Irish rallying, you know, it's a country that really loves the sport, and I think it deserves to have kind of what it's getting, because you know the people put so much in, you know.
And like, JJ, from your point of view, you know, we keep Meirion going, Meirion O weapons. We're going to have to give you an Irish passport now shortly as well, because like you just seem to love this atmosphere. You just soak it all up. You know, you fit in when you come over here. It's just like, I would say it's like coming over here and putting on a pair of gloves almost. You just feel comfortable.
It is at this point, yeah. You know, after a few years. To be honest, it's just infectious. You know, when you enjoy the sport as much as we do and you enjoy the competition, and you can go somewhere that has that, you feed off it, you know. When you're doing an event, you see people around, and the amount of, I mean, you only had to look in the service area in Galway at the weekend, but there was hundreds, if not thousands of people there over the weekend at various points, and you just see the passion for it. And when you can go somewhere that has an equal amount of passion for it as you do, then, you know, you love it. You just get the buzz.
Yeah.
Galway is interesting because the weather's always so bad. Well, generally so bad, and you see so many people on the ditches, and you think, "What are you doing, boys?" But then, you know,
they're dedicated to the cause.
The crowds again, you know, the crowds are pretty big out in the stages. Now we get to see many of them. It was actually quite nice because we have a customer in the garage, nothing through rallying at all, but he lived 5 minutes up the road from us for years, and we serviced his car. And I just got talking to him in the garage one day, and then I said, "Oh, where are you from in Ireland?" He said, "Galway." He actually lives on the Black Road. So he came to see us at the weekend. So, you know, it's just really, really nice, you know.
And like the thing I always love about Galway is, you know, the ceremony to start in the middle of the city. Like, you know, the people comes across, looks, what's going on over here, and they don't know nothing about rallying, but they get caught up with that and fetches buzz. And next thing then, you know, they're tuning in online, or they're maybe going out to the Black Road or whatever.
Yeah.
It's great, isn't it? You know, so.
Yeah.
Oh, it's brilliant.
This is how you get people involved, you know. You take it to the people and they'll get an interest, and that's how people start to love the sport. And, you know, next thing you know, hopefully they might be competitors in the future. You just never know, do you?
Marshals, or, you know,
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
there's so many avenues to get involved in the sport now, isn't there? You know, so.
Yeah, there's loads. I mean, there's loads. You can do anything these days. It's quite accessible. You know, the people are quite nice as well. So you don't get kicked out before you kind of even broach the subject.
Yes, you said most people.
Most.
But Galway, special event, have your name on that trophy. It must be very special for me to see the list of previous winners.
Yeah, I did a quick look at the trophy. It's quite hard to read it because the writing's so small, but yeah, I think the last overseas driver was Mark Higgins in 08, and the last overseas crew were Gronholm and Raly in 07, which I think they did a fair bit with their careers, didn't they? So, yeah, esteemed company. It's nice. That's the beauty with these rallies as well. So many of the Tarmac Championship rallies, they're such classic events, and if you can win one of them, or any one of them really, you're going to be in quite an elite club with some really, really special names. And I said it like at the weekend, I think at the interview at the finish ramp, that my first visit to Galway, I thought it was horrible. It was one of those where I thought I was driving fast, but I was just getting beat by everyone, and people had told me to take you a bit to learn. But yeah, we kept coming back and kept getting faster, and here we are.
And do you still think it's horrible?
No, it's great. It's not even up for us. I mean, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
We on holiday the weekend.
Yeah. And JJ, from at the finish line, yes, Andy Hayes played that joke on you, thinking it was a bit cruel. But what an atmosphere! Like the crowds at the finish line now, it's got unreal, and like Andy and Killian having the champagne, all those wee things. It's ramped it up really, like, to another level.
It was class, but don't worry, Andy Hayes will get it back. That's Mark Black Book for future reference.
I hope he's never in the position to get it back, to be honest.
No, same.
It was him that always used to play the joke on me.
It'll keep for something else. But no, you're right. The atmosphere at the finish is brilliant. We were talking on the way home, and as I was saying, what it teaches you is to live in the moment. And for those 10 minutes, you feel like a celebrity because, like you say, the crowd is just getting bigger and bigger at the end there, and all eyes are on you, and it makes it really special. And full credit to Killian and Andy for bringing the champagne across. It just helps to add to the occasion. And yeah,
I'll tell you one thing: I couldn't be a co-driver because I'd forget everything about the rest of the rally.
It's all right. The marshal did have to remind me that I needed to have my time card in at that point. I would have had a memento.
We better go, yeah.
Like that celebrity thing's gone to the head,
Yeah, very quickly. But to be fair, the atmosphere was quite special at the finish line, actually. Yeah. It's like JJ said, you have to live in that moment, No mobile phones and just get on with it. It was you won't forget it in a hurry.
And like for all your battles on the stages and everything else, like everybody was over shaking your hands, patting you in the back. The battles maybe not forgotten, but it's congratulations, you done well. They're delighted for you as much as so that's fantastic to see as well.
That's the beauty with Irish rallying, to be honest. We're all fully aware that on Monday morning we're all back to work really, and we're just normal people then. But we go at each other at the weekends, and have a race. But yeah, everybody has a lot of respect for each other, and I think it's a really nice atmosphere because if the tables are turned, whoever's winning, there's never hard feelings over anything. It's just. I guess everyone's friends at the end of the day.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And you're only home a day, but when do the DVDs come out for West Cork?
I'll wait for him to tell me.
About 4 weeks' time, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, the DVD will be a while, but we have some things from last year we can look at and everything. So I think I generally start whenever I feel ready before I'll give myself this week off. I owe myself that. You have to enjoy it. That's one thing, to be fair, that the Ulster and Galway told me, is that you have to enjoy it a bit. Because to be fair, with the Ulster, we won, and we didn't really have much time to enjoy it because we were doing a rally at home 2 weeks later, and we kind of had to go straight into working at that. So I don't think we got a full chance to enjoy it properly. And like the week after, my dad did a rally, so we couldn't go out for a drink or anything. So yeah, I think we'll enjoy this one for a week and then focus on the future then.
Kevin, lovely to hear that from Meirion and Jonathan, and really appreciate them taking out the time to talk to us. They literally were only a few hours back home, having travelled back on Monday to back to Wales. So it was great to hear from them.
Yeah, for sure. And we have to mention the hospitality of the Galway people. The whole club, like anybody that we had any dealings with, couldn't do enough for us. They were so welcoming and so courteous. And then the residents, between I know I get tea there on Sunday morning. I think you get tea somewhere on Saturday as well. Like Galway is such a friendly county. The people are so good. Bank holiday weekend. The city was going to be busy anyway, but they still welcomed the rally on, and that was fantastic to see. It really is, But we also got a chance to catch up with Mark Alcorn, probably known to most rally people as Psycho, but he was no Psycho last weekend. A flawless performance on the stages, Connor.
Oh, phenomenal. It was just an outstanding drive. I think there might have been one little incident captured on camera that I saw, but bar that, clean and tidy and very sensible, and had the foot to the floor where he needed and backed off at the same time with the same sort of thought, and steadiness. Just incredible drive from him.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think we'll cut over to Mark and hear his story.
Aye, it's not funny. It's not often you get your first rally, and I went into my first rally and I won the class straight away, and I was still up there with the old guys like Robbie Peoples and them boys back in the in the old Escort time. And that was them boys were all our heroes, like Paul Geller and Robbie, and even to be up there matching them with an old 1600 standard car was you knew then there was something going on.
And did it come easy to you?
It did. The biggest problem I had was we used to at the start, like the notes was hard to get onto. I could always drive a wee bit, but the notes was hard to get onto. But sometimes I didn't even hear Kiki, and I was just going straight through the corner away. So we got used to them then.
I think that was the one man that was there right from the get go. He was he stuck with you through thick and thin. Was Kevin the Kiki, wasn't he?
I don't even know why he stayed there that long. Seriously, I used to have great highs in the middle of the day, but come the evening time, there was no way. We probably should have won. We should have won 7 or 8 rallies, no problem at all. Like we were leading nationals before, and never happened. So we always had the pace side. But Kevin, I don't know. Now he had enough, and after the smash in 18, he says, "No, I'm not going through all this again."
But he still is your biggest supporter. I was speaking to him and Kevin the first day you had the escort out, and he was. This is the time now. This man's going to shine now. He's still full square behind you there, isn't he?
Oh, listen, hey, when we landed down the road on Sunday evening there, we all went to John's bar there for a wee drink down at Jason Boyle's bar. They took it over from John Boyle's pubs. And first man, I just texted Kiki going down the road. He was texting me, and I just texted him. I says, "We'll be there about quarter to 10 or so if you want to." We pulled into the street, and John O'Donnell says, "Look, there's Kiki's Jeep." He was the first man there. Down in Dick. So me and Kiki go back a long way. Hey, it was a great. We had some great times in them cars. It's unbelievable.
I guess, you think of the events, you could have won anywhere in the country. It wasn't, some people always, they get tired away, he knows his way around Donegal, or he knows his way around Kerry, or whatever. You could go anywhere and be quick, and that always was a great thing to be as well.
Yeah, well, any driver that's, you see them out there day in, day out, them other younger lads there, they're unbelievable. They can go to it. But see, it doesn't matter where you go. If you have a good navigator and you're well in your notes, and it's all to do with what note you have down on the paper. And if you drive to your notes and do a good recce, you can go quick anywhere. It doesn't matter. You're actually better off not really knowing the road. I didn't know none of Galway this week. I never done Galway. I done it before, but I never finished. But I drove to the notes all weekend. And I just drove the road it was. It was on my back doorstep too. So it's.
And the twin cam like you said, it was a standard car basically when you started, but that got developed. But you took it to a stage you could go no further in it. You had a 2-litre engine in it, to finish up. like you wrung its neck out. You pulled it and pushed it and shoved it and done all you could with it really over them years, didn't you?
That's what I try and tell these younger boys nowadays. Like when they keep switching nowadays, they have a 1600 car and they don't want nothing, and then they say, "I want more power." I keep saying, "No, you got to stay with the class you're in first and really dominate it before you move up to the next class, because you'll never get on well doing that." Like, you know, we wrung every penny out of her. Like we had that 1600 car, and I remember even one day we're in the Meirion rally, and there was about maybe 10 WRCs in it, and we were going up to the start line, and we were pulling on off the main road, and we were probably the fifth car. We were running nearly 4 or 5 in the road, and there were 5 WRCs behind us, and a 1600 car, like it's not. And this marshal stopped me and he says, "I think you made a wrong turn there, sir. You must have skipped the stage." It was being serious. Kiki was like, "Get out of the way." You know, so you got to take it step by step, like, and you can't just jump onto them 2.5 cars now and think that you're going to put it up to the likes of them guys that's out every weekend there. Like, it's not possible. Hey, they're such an animal to go.
And you know, you finally got your 2.5 Escort, 2018.
2018, yeah.
And like, oh, you know, what was it like to finally jump in and drive one of these things? And you know, you finally, you know, like the greyhound that finally got the hair. You know, you finally discovered what the promised land was like. Was it ever than you thought?
I tell you, you can ask Kiki the next time you're talking to him, because we started off in Cavan, and the first 3 pages of the notes, he never read them at all. He just says, "This is terrible." So no, all the expectations was brilliant. Hey, I spent all that time myself. Like I was flying home from England, building the car up with Sean McGurr, like, and Sean was a real big help to me that time, building the car, and Cahill Brown and like them guys, like Bobby and Sharky didn't come in to start running the car after that, but you know, them guys really helped out. Like, but a lot of long trips up to Enniskillen and back down before you got that thing in the road. Hey, there was a lot of hardship. Hey, I'll tell you, sleeping in vans in Sean McGurr's shade at 5 a.m, waiting for him to come up. That was brilliant. I wouldn't do it again, but
it was great at the time.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it again.
But like, you know, that is something that's really special about rallying. You don't, you know, not every other sport will do this. You know, guys will, you know, do anything for you. They'll give up their holidays. They'll give up their time off work to come and get stuck in and help you build a car or whatever. You know, isn't that great?
That's someone like even someone like Cahill Brown was there. I remember like near the end when Sean was saying, "I'm very busy," like he was saying, "Can you get Cahill up here to Enniskillen to get us to put the car back together? You know, the running gear and everything, get it all set up." And I said, "I can't even get Cahill Brown down to Garton. Like, how am I going to get him? How am I going to get him to Enniskillen?" But Jesus, lo and behold, he made his way up nearly for a week every day, every morning. Jesus, he wasn't happy.
But he done it for you. That's it. You know, that is the thing, isn't it? You know. So.
This is it. You like. I had some great people in the corner over the years. Like, and it's you know yourself. Like I never take the credit for. I wouldn't take the credit for anything I do. Like, it's a full team effort. Like.
And like we probably should address, you know, like you had this name of being, you know, the Psycho. Where did it come from?
I don't know. Maybe it was my earlier days. I probably got into a few rows that I shouldn't have got into. But hey, listen, that stuck by me, and listen, nobody ever says there's Mark. Hey, it's their Psycho coming it's not a bad name to have. Sometimes, you know, when you're in the rally car, that's what you got to be. Sometimes you got to be a wee bit aggressive.
Yes, but we'll go back to, you know, getting into the 2.5. You know, everybody I spoke to says like the 2.5 is, no matter how many times you drive it, you're still, you know, it still takes you a stage just to get used to it, because it is an animal. Like that first time in Calvin, you talked about, you know, not even reading the first 3 pages of notes. Like it takes a lot of seat time, you know, and a lot of effort to get the best out of them cars.
Listen, you people don't understand it. Like, to take them to that level, like it's all right there. See if you're 10 or 15 seconds or 20 seconds back off them times, like you're still in a good pace. the guys out there, it's an unbelievable pace out there. Like and they're so hard to get that traction down. Like you're coming out of junctions, you're not even on first gear, you're in third gear sometimes in them roads. Like just to get the traction down. I always said, like, if you could have a 30% car, an Escort with 4-wheel drive, 30 to the front and 70 to the back, there'd be no word of these R5s. It's unbelievable. Like, but they are an ultimate car, like for real driver ability. Like you see everybody there, it doesn't matter where you go in the world, like they're talking about R5s this and R5s that, but let me tell you, hey, the world rally drivers don't be building R5s when they want to go for a weekend's driving away. They're driving Escorts, or they're driving Novas, or they're driving something like that's driver related. Like,
that's the driver and puts the input behind the wheel.
That's the input behind the wheel that does that work, and they want to see what they're really capable of. So you see that even in world rally stages with all them boys there, all their second cars is the older car. Like, but no, the modified car definitely that 2.5. The Millington's just. You nearly take a tear to your eye there when you hear raving up that, because they're unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Connor, you're looking to jump in there?
Yeah, I suppose just maybe moving on, looking at Donegal 22, there was a more settled approach, or, you had strong, consistent times that weekend. Was that did things just really click for you, or was that a very, deliberate approach to that rally?
Connor, we went in there with one what was I going to say? Just one plan, like, and it was do not put the car off the road for a start. Like, whatever way it went, it had to finish. And with it being prepared so well by Bobby, up at Sharkey Motorsport, I knew the car would finish. It would be my problem. So, the approach was like that there. But after the first day, I really did take it easy. The first day, I didn't push at all. But I seen I was still kind of not on the boys' pace. Like, the boys were really away there, a couple of seconds ahead of you every stage. But come Saturday, I got comfortable in the car, and as I was saying to somebody else there the day, like, it's once you, I used to get that feeling in the twin cam where I was just absolutely fully in control of the car. Like, it didn't matter what speed you were doing. The harder you went, the better you adapted. And that's the way I felt in Donegal too, because it just felt so right. Like, when you're going around them corners and you know that it's going to stick, you have the setup on the car right, and the head's right, and as I tried to say to you before, like, the notes are right, and your team's right. It's all to do with the head.
Yeah, I think there must be no feeling like that. Like, and having full confidence in you, the car, the guy sitting beside you, Bobby Sharkey back in service. If everything's just working as the one perfect unit, there must be nothing to beat that.
No, I seen us running on a shoestring, like, before going to rallies, and you're going, like, wonder what stage we're going to go out on here. Like, when's she going to break down? That's the best. Even that last stage there, we drove, like, we didn't have to. We had over a minute there to spare. Like, I absolutely just put the boot down, and she was singing going around, big fast corners on the edge and nearly clipping rocks. Like, and I was like, that's the way you got a driver. Like, you just can't be taking your toe off her at any stage. Like, but it felt so right. Like, I was so comfortable in the car. Even on the last stage, it was like, nah, there was no nerves there at all. Then it was just natural.
Yeah. And we could take a wee quick jump back to Donegal. Come the Sunday, like, your home stage, and the 2 times over the stage, the time you put in, like, everybody was scratching their head. You talk about these R5 guys, they were scratching their head. Like, yes, it's great knowing the road, but, like, that's bonkers what you were doing that day. Like, was that on the edge, or was it controlled?
No, massively controlled. Hey, no, like, I knew I was on the edge a couple of places, but I never was out of control of the car. Like, if you're out of control of the car, you're not even going to set a time. Like, if you're sliding about. No, I didn't. I felt it could have went quicker again. Even I would have went quicker the second time over. I did go quicker, but I would have went another 10 seconds quicker maybe if I hadn't lost my tires halfway through the stage, and I just backed off. Then I had no more. I went in a soft tire, and it just wasn't working. Like, there was too much heat there, and I was like, I got to the end of it and I was going, nah. He says, nah, James says you took a massive amount of time off it again, so just be happy with it. And I says, no, he says, we had another 10 in there, easy, like. And that's what I wanted to do, like I wanted to put up another massive time just for them R5 boys, just to get a wee bite at their heels.
Connor, you want to jump in there again?
Yeah, and then I suppose coming up to date there with Galway at the weekend. What were your hopes, or what was the plans heading into Galway?
There was a good plan there. The plan was to finish the rally number one. Do not put a scrape on it for now for Longford. Just get comfortable with the car again and see. And I knew if I got 3 or 4 stages over me, the pace would come back to the Donegal pace that I had on Saturday or Sunday. And I knew that a lot of the boys was rallying there, that I could have beat them if I got that pace back. So that was the plan. Finish the rally. Doesn't matter where you come, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Doesn't matter to me. But I think maybe we still had that pace from Donegal, and I think it's still in the head. Like I kept it in the head there, and just make sure that when I step back in there, I was going to put up some big times again.
And like to have John O'Donnell in with you, like not being critical of John, but he's as big a head case as you. It seemed like maybe it is critical.
It's not critical at all now.
But like
you seen John driving.
Yes, that's where I'm coming from. But like this was like everybody thought on paper this is never going to work, but it did. It was a really good combination.
They when John and me talked about it, he said John didn't say do you want me to sit? He just says I'm sitting. Like it's just no. So I actually got really when he phoned me that day to say that he was going to start sitting, I was really excited because I knew how he's very well prepared, John. Like he's nearly OCD when it comes to the car and all his notes and all his things. He has to have everything 110%, and he is so professional. It's unbelievable. So when John come on board, it was like everybody was going, no, this is a disaster waiting to happen. He's going to turn around and he's going to say, if that's a 2, he's going to call a 1. He's going to say flat out. So, because John doesn't have no breaks when it comes to rallying. He just wants to go as hard as he can go too. So, but he's excellent on the notes. And I don't think the partnership would work, but it's unbelievable the way we work in the car.
And you are such good friends out of rallying. To go to Galway and to do what you've done, to share that with a good friend as well too, that makes it even that wee bit more special again.
It does, surely, Kevin. Sure, you were talking all day. I lifted him there yesterday, and we were down lifting another van, and we're all together nearly every couple of days. We'll be running into one another, or we'll be running into one of the gang. Like, that's a big feeling. It's good for that. It's good for all the lads, like to get involved, and sure, everybody's talking about it down here today. Like it's kind of a great achievement for them.
Aye, like you're a celebrity in your area now. You like in the one town almost as well too. It's great.
I was chatting to big Neil Gallagher there the day that plays for the county. He's retired now. And Neil says to me, "I seen you get into that shop there." He says, "I bet you didn't even charge you for the water." But they did charge me.
Brought you back down to earth.
Did I? So no, that's nice, but you don't get a big head about it. Like I wouldn't be one for that. No, I just like the feeling, like and the confidence is. I'll leave that for the card.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Connor, you want to jump back in again?
Yeah, I suppose we know rallying's expensive and that, and sponsors are hard to find. Anybody you want to thank, Mark, that you have brought on board for this year?
Aye, listen, Ron Hill has the whole car there this year, and we wouldn't have been doing Galway. Galway's too early in the year for us if we hadn't got a sponsor. So Ron Hill's the main sponsor. So big shout out to Ronan Hill for with them, and it's great for him to come on board, and he's really buzzing now at the minute now too. Like he's on a bit of a high. So things are looking up from that end of it now. You won't do nothing without sponsor.
Yeah, and looking ahead, what are the plans for the rest of the year?
Plans is now straight into the national championship, and then we'll see later on in the year how if we can jump back over to the tarmac. Maybe if we're still maybe second or third in the tarmac, you might be able to jump into one, or you might be able to jump into Ulster or someone, or someone right around that end of the year stuff that the boys might have bad luck in it, and their points mightn't be there. So maybe we don't know. But we'll definitely be doing Donegal anyway. So that'll be. But I don't know what's going to happen in Donegal.
We'll leave that for another time.
I think we could sit here for an hour and talk about that one.
Yeah. That's for sure. But Mark, the amount of people that has on social media that's delighted to see you won that rally, that is the mark of the man. It's you've built the relationships with these people. You built the following. I would say you'd like to say a few words to them people as well.
Big time. Listen, I'm a bit of a hothead when it comes to people, but geez, if you'll definitely know how I feel about you when I meet you. Anyway, I'm not gonna talk about you behind your back, and that's probably why I held on to a lot of them older boys. That I got a lot of texts from the older guys. Paul Barrett was ringing me there before you come on there, and he was just he was so emotional on the phone saying that I was proud as punch. He says, don't think I'm not proud. But listen, there's a whole heap of lads. I have my whole team. Jared McGrenner, my cousin there, he does everything. He just runs morning, noon, and night for you. He just loves rallying. And then you have Sean there that works for me, and JP Boyle there. He's living in me and Mayo, and you have Ryan Gormley never ceases to clean the car. You want to see the way the car was going out after every service. People were saying to me, "Is there any muck in them stages?" Because the car looks, that's the way the guys are doing it. They're doing it so professional. They're cleaning even the car. When the car's sitting there, they're washing everything. You have Bobby Sharkey there, just unbelievable the way the car's set up. He's just the car gets stuff that doesn't even be needed in the car. Rightly, if you're talking to Daniel McKenna, he just runs the cars just flawlessly. There's a whole heap of people you could go past, but even the likes of them. A big thanks to Martin McLaughlin. Martin come on board with me when we were building the car. He's my partner in the car, and I couldn't have built that car without Martin. And Martin never goes out in the car. He doesn't get the good at it at all. But he says, I don't want to go out in the car. I just want to see you win. And he says whenever there's a quiet day, he says I'll step under, and I'll head off on a run. So. Things like that wouldn't have happened. But there's all the lads that was there with us every weekend. But them boys are mentioned, they're there,
and the bad weekends as well as the good weekends, aren't they?
Nobody's easy got 4 or 5 or 6 weeks before a rally. But these guys will land at your door in 10 minutes. If you rang, and I don't know what it is. It's definitely, it's not for all me. It must be for the love of the rallying, because sometimes I'm hard to listen to. But it was a big shout out to all them and anybody that helped me with the car. I just Cooper tires. I think that tire there took me back to the Dunlop days. He asked me to try a set of them one time, and I put 4 on and I went testing, and I actually went up to Glendon and I got that good a feeling. I rang Kiki and I said, "These them Cooper tires, it's just like being back in the Corolla again with the Dunlops." I says, "It's just I know they're not for everybody, but they're definitely for me. I really get the best out of them, so that's good."
Well, Mark, I think that was a brilliant chat. I really appreciate you taking the time. and it's been a pleasure. And roll on the national championship, and fingers crossed you might dip your toe into the internationals from time to time.
Oh, please God! Hey, Jesus! I really hope I get it back into one of them. Like after Donegal, if the car's 100%, like I'll get somebody to sit on if John's doing the. Yeah. John's going to do he's going to do the tarmac DC and but he's still stepping back into the national, so he has a busy year ahead of him. So no,
would you get into the passenger seat with him?
No, I wouldn't. I can't drive to the town here with any of the boys here. I'm the worst man at sitting on. I can't do it. I just keep thinking that something's going to happen.
Thanks, Mark. There, it was an absolute pleasure catching up with you. He messaged me today as well. He forgot completely when we were recording the piece to mention Kiva Darcy. We're all being shown about this great opportunity that Kiva has to work. She has hopefully a life-saving operation in America coming up now in the next few months, and there's going to be a fantastic raffle there. So there's going to be some great prizes. Hopefully we'll catch up with some of the Darcys in the next week or two. But Mark wanted me to mention that there too. So also we have to give a special mention to the other Meirion Evans. He won the historic section of the Galway Rally there too. And these historic, that historic section of the rally keeps going strength to strength. Meirion finished, I think, 32 seconds ahead of Ray Breen and the Legacy. Oh, what a pleasure it was to hear a Legacy back in the stages again. That just, the years, just reeling in the years you talk about, so, and then Duncan Williams took third, another great performance as well too. So, what we keep saying about the historics as well too, phenomenal. Then this weekend coming, then we have is Sweden, WRC Sweden. Conditions there look a bit mixed, Conor.
Yeah, the weather, I suppose, has been what everybody's focused on. It's been slow about snow and ice and freezing. It's got there, but probably a couple of weeks later than normal. I know I had reports this evening from one of our MI co-drivers out there who was saying stages are good, but a few of them are missing ice, and then they're also rutted a bit. So, it's probably not as compacted down, or maybe not as hard a surface as they would be wanting, just to keep the speeds up.
Mm-hmm. And those Rally 1 cars, if there's any way of digging up the road surface, they will dig it up with the torque and the power that they're producing. So hard to know. Hard to look past Toyota.
It is hard to look past Toyota. I suppose that the problem Callie's going to have is being first in the road on Friday. And then you also have there's a local historic event runs on those stages as well, which means come the second loop, those stages are really cut up and really rutted for the leading cars going through again. So, it's going to be tough on them on the first day. But again, Toyota, they are the car to beat at the moment. And again, Elvins looks like he's got to grips with the handling of that car and the setup of it. Certainly had a good run in Monty.
He won Sweden a couple of years ago too, and it was that kind of mixed conditions as well too. It fell to him that year too. So it would be nice to see Elvin finally turn the clock back again, or maybe not turn the clock, turn the things around. Maybe would be a better way of describing it. And Hyundai, Craig Breen back in the as well too. So fingers crossed that Craig has found the form again as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like there was a couple of clips of him out testing, looked quite good in testing, but we all know that testing is just a snapshot on a particular stage on a particular day. It doesn't signify how well they'll go on an event. But certainly, if I suppose the main thing being if that. In the past, the Hyundai has suited him, and Craig's been able to jump into the Hyundai with little seat time and perform very well. So fingers crossed, the car is of a similar setup to the past for him, and he's comfortable with it from the get go.
For sure, and to look at him, he looks happier. He looks lighter almost. So that has to bode well for the season ahead too. The events he's doing. Neville, he. Was probably as close to anybody in any of the Toyotas in Monte Carlo. will they have found significant gains in that the Hyundai since? It's hard to know. You'd like to think that they'll get closer anyway, at the very least.
Absolutely, you would hope so. Bring the competition a bit closer. Again, the conditions will dictate how fast a rally it is. Normally it is when it's a proper normal snow and ice rally. It's one of the fastest, if not the fastest round. So again, depending on how well the ice is compacted into the gravel. The top end speed of the Honda is quite good. I know Toyota came to Monty with a little extra engine performance, but again, that the Hyundais are quite strong on the engine side. So it could be very interesting to see if they get a clean run and the car set up from the get-go.
Yeah, and Lappy, probably one of his, maybe possible an event that will suit his, his style there. The snow and all that. He should feel at home in that. So it's maybe a chance for him to be a bit more comfortable in the car as well.
The event might suit him. I'm not 100% yet if the car does. Oh man, he just seems so uncomfortable in what do you call it, in Monty. And then he did do a local rally there last weekend to try and get comfortable, and again ended up getting the car beached and losing a lot of time. So I don't know. It's not going Lappy's way at the moment. So hopefully things click, but it might take another couple of events for him just to get the car really to a point where he's comfortable in it.
For sure. And then also Takamoto, he'll be stepping up to the full blown team with OJ not being there as well too. So hopefully he seems a very level-headed guy. Hopefully the pressure doesn't get to him there, and Aaron seems to keep a good level performance in the car there for him as well.
Absolutely. Look, the two of them seem to be working extremely well, which is brilliant. And again, they were out on a what do you call it, on a rally as well there, and again didn't finish. Trying to get the bit of snow experience, etc., for themselves. So hopefully that's that bit of bad luck out of the way, and at least they got enough done to get a sense of setup and Taka's more comfortable driving on the snow.
For sure. And then M Sport, if anybody can ring the neck of the Puma, it's going to be Tarmac. It's so hard to know. That didn't look settled in Monday, but maybe the Tarmac, maybe the snow will suit it better. Hopefully, we need M Sport back at the in the top of the timesheets. We
do, and Tarmac competed at home last weekend on a snow rally in Estonia. He won the rally. Hopefully there's a bit of, there's some fantastic testing of nothing else and a chance to get the car really well set up, you would hope, for Sweden. But if not, it's a confidence boost for him. He's coming fresh from a win. Okay, it might have been a national rally, but still fresh from a win. The car was performing, no issues. We have seen the last couple of rallies, there's been little niggly technical problems between hybrids or power steering or other issues with the Puma, and he didn't appear to have any of that. So hopefully, it's a good boost for the team as well, coming to Sweden on the back of that win in Estonia.
Absolutely. And then, the other two, they get drivers out there as well. But, for a local point of view, the great thing is JWRC starts again this weekend, and we have two local crews that we're going to be cheering on the weekend as well.
Absolutely. We've got Will Creighton and Eamonn Kelly taking part, and I caught up with them earlier in the week.
Monday was cool. It was a great experience. I didn't think I would be doing the rally, and it was never really in the plan, like I said before it. And then the opportunity came up with PCRS and the academy. So the run up to the event, it was a lot of work went in, from everybody. And then obviously the recce, it was pretty difficult. It was a great experience. We had the rally started well, so it did on Thursday night. A couple of small mistakes from my side, but we settled in quite nicely, and we're enjoying it. Unfortunately, then on Saturday we picked up a puncture and a couple of mechanical issues, but we didn't get the overall result that we maybe could have had. But we learned a lot from it. That we can put towards now for the rest of the year.
And the weather wasn't the typical Monte Carlo weather. It was quite dry and warm. Were you disappointed, or that you didn't get to experience Monte with the snow and the ice, etc., or was it maybe a bit of a relief and it was a chance for you to have a cleaner run at the event?
Yeah, it's definitely a complex rally, even in the dry. So I think if the conditions were difficult, it would have been, really tricky, like everybody says it is. But yeah, I suppose it would have been pretty cool to have a bit of snow and a bit more ice. But it's easy saying that now. I maybe wouldn't be thinking that if we were sat in the start line for a few of the stages. But yeah, if we ever get the chance to go back, it'll maybe be snowy and icy then. So yeah, I think the rally's moving back maybe towards Gap next year. So to try and get a bit more of those conditions. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah. So Sweden is around, it's the first round of the JWRC for this year, and obviously both of you are tackling it. Eamonn, you recently did the Arctic rally there last month, and Connor wasn't on board with you. You had Matt Edwards.
Yeah. It was just to try and do a bit of fast track learning. Having never really properly driven on snow before, we just decided, if you're heading to a WRC event, you might as well try and just be as prepared as possible. And Matt's vastly experienced and does a lot of coaching up in Rovaniemi, where the rally's based. So he knows the area and the lay of the land. And again, just the idea and process of driving on snow efficiently. He's, he was the perfect man for the job, and he's not a bad navigator either. So it was, it was good. It was a hugely challenging event, like probably equally as challenging as a WRC rally. You're covering about 245k in 2 days, and most of which was at night time on really, really long stages where you didn't get to do the same stage twice. You were always doing just one stage, one pass, and that was it. And they're all about 30k each. So, really challenging. But for me, it was the perfect test that I could have gotten before Sweden. And again, Matt helped speed that process up, and we learned a lot. We took a steady approach and didn't particularly take any risks. He made sure I was kind of on a bit of a leash too, and just tried to get all of the mileage and nail the process as such.
And I suppose, what was the steepest learning curve for you? You only had really the couple of days, and obviously getting used to the changing tires as well. So what was the biggest challenge for you?
Yeah, it was just a combination of everything, really. Like, kind of getting used to the fact that you do have so much grip under braking and stuff. Like, it really is a case of kind of, when you get it into your head, it is very, very similar to gravel. But the nature of the roads up here, they're so fast. Like, you could be coming down a flat out section for ages, and then it's trying to get your braking right coming into tight stuff, knowing that you do have the grip, but it just feels so unnatural when you're coming into a tight corner at 100 miles an hour, that you do have the braking power to get stopped. So it's just getting your head around that, and letting the car slide about and carrying speed in that way. Obviously, it's a new car for us too in the Rally 3, and still getting used to four-wheel drive machinery on loose surfaces. So yeah, a combination of all that stuff, but it's starting to come together bit by bit.
And William, you've an event this weekend to what do you call it, help you get prepped. I think you did the same event last year, which was in the middle of a storm that hit Sweden at the time.
Yeah, it's a cool event. We did it last year. It's got 6 different stages, so a bit like what Eamonn was saying, all the stages are really long. I think there's a couple of 30k stages, so and you don't do any of them twice, so it's good practice to go out and make your pace notes, and then try to drive, as quickly as you can to them, and just trying to be as accurate with them. So yeah, last year there was a bit of a storm in the middle of the day, so it's not so nice driving with the studs on the fresh snow. It's quite difficult. So yeah, that was interesting. Probably one of the craziest stages I think Liam and I have ever done. But yeah, hopefully, as much as I know, the conditions are good so far for this weekend. So yeah, it's a perfect way to prep for WRC Sweden. Like Eamonn saying, there's it's quite specialized and takes a minute or two just to get your head around driving on the ice. So yeah, hopefully we can get to grips with it. And I really enjoyed it last year, so hopefully we can get back into that rhythm.
Yeah, you mentioned about getting your head around the driving on the ice. Like, obviously in the compacted snow and the ice, the studded tires give you exceptional grip. But how long does it take you to kind of get your mindset into that, to actually trust the grip that you have, and probably more grip in some cases compared to, you know, a wet tarmac rally at home?
Yeah, even comparing it to the gravel, the traction you get on acceleration is crazy. And then, like Eamonn was saying, the grip and that you have whenever you're braking from high speed is also pretty crazy. So getting your head around that, and then the car moves quite a lot, when you're going around the corners. So it's a great feeling whenever you've got it going right. And obviously you've got the snowbanks there that you touch the odd time. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, it's just trying to get your head around that and get dialed in. But as I say, I felt pretty comfortable on it last year, and our pace was quite good. So hopefully we can get back into that at the warm-up event.
And JWRC, change in the competitors this year, still looking extremely competitive as well. So were you targeting William, or who you benchmarking against, or kind of what's the plan really?
Well, I suppose the plan is always to try and win events. That's always been my plan. But I think going into this year, with that bit more experience, hopefully we'll be, a little bit better prepared, and that'll help us be even more competitive. But yeah, it's to try and win events. That's definitely the aim, but it's going to be no easier than it has been in previous years. The competition's always pretty crazy in the WRC. So yeah, I wouldn't like to pin one or two people. I'm sure everybody's going to be competitive, which will make it good. And yeah, it's nice to have Eamonn there obviously as well. Pretty cool to have two of the cars representing the academy. So yeah, it was only a couple of years ago we were fighting each other in the junior BRC. So yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, and Eamonn, new car, new events for yourself. Like, has it been a case of studying lots of onboards? And again, where are you kind of pitching or benchmarking yourself against?
Yeah, exactly. Doing a lot of prep and just doing, I suppose, as much as we can to make it go as smoothly as possible, and know that we haven't left anything on the table. But it's hard to know, because I've never rallied outside of Ireland or the UK, never in the WRC. So, and it's a fairly fresh set of drivers, bar a couple of people, with some really, really good track records. So it's hard to know, but we just have to go in. Our mindset is I don't think there's any big pressure on us. It's just go in and try and do as best as we can. Obviously, you always want to be as high up as you can. You don't want to just kind of trail around, but it's for us again, it's just about seeing how far we can push our capabilities, and see where that takes us. But it's really, really exciting. It's the stuff of dreams to be heading into a WRC rally and racing a lot of other young drivers and equal machinery. And yeah, as William said, it's pretty cool to have two Motorsport Ireland guys in the field as well.
Yeah, and with a nod to the academy, yourself and Connor, what sort of support have you gotten in the build up to coming to Sweden and the JW and taking on the JWRC?
Huge amount. It's brilliant. Like, any questions that you have, any doubts, are just eliminated immediately, because you can pick up the phone and there's someone on the other end of it who's going to help you find a solution. And yeah, it's excellent. And even just externally, whether you're doing the JWRC or whatever championship you're doing, the support that they're offering for young drivers is amazing. And I really think it can benefit you no matter what championship you're doing. So yeah, but for myself and Connor, it's been excellent so far. And I'm really looking forward to working with them all throughout the year.
And Eamonn, a new livery on the car, certainly a nod to your father's, rallying with regard to the colour scheme. Did your dad don't have a hand in that, or was that completely your own?
No, we were just trying to come up with new ideas. And to be fair, the guys at Signs were always push them as well to come up with something fairly different. And we just kind of landed on that. We might have taken a little bit of inspiration from William and Josh going with a retro livery in Monty, which we thought was pretty cool. So maybe not as retro, but definitely a note to the past. and obviously some very good memories in our household from that livery and that car. And Northgate Vehicle Hire are back on as our primary sponsors this year, and they've been very loyal and very good to us, and we thought it was a nice way to commemorate that as well.
Yeah, and William, the two MI cars looked fantastic with the nod to the Jordan F1 7-Up livery. They really did look very well in Monty. And with that, William, obviously coming from home, there's not much experience of driving in snow, and it's fairly limited. But how difficult it is trying to get the car set up for that, with that lack of experience, how different is it to gravel or to come out on tar, and with regard to bringing your knowledge of car and the car setup with when you're only getting to compete in snow once a year, really, or bar the odd pre-event testing.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is just really trying to get your head around what the car can do, with the tires and the grip that you actually have. Once you do that, it is quite like driving on gravel. Like I said, you definitely, I think, have more grip on traction and as much or more grip whenever you're braking. It's just the car definitely likes to slide about a little bit more, and with the longer corners that are typical for these rallies, it's just being confident with that and trying to carry the speed. But whenever you get it right, and honestly, there's probably not much better feeling. We really enjoyed it last year, so yeah, if we can get back to that sort of feeling and get a good setup with the car, hopefully it's all good.
And between stages or between loops, is there much yourself and Liam can do adjustment wise to the car, or is it pretty much set just between services and it's down to the crew making the changes for you?
Yeah, there's limited things that you can do with the car, so that it keeps it quite equal for everybody. But nevertheless, there's, even in what you're allowed to do, there's quite a bit that you still can do. So yeah, there's things that we can change between the stages, and then when we get back into service, there's obviously things that we can change. But hopefully we'll do most of that in the warm-up event here, so that we can have a solid setup going into the rally. So yeah, it's just so many different things that change whenever you're going to a rally like this. And even like one small thing, when you use the tires and they start to get, you do a full loop on them, they still look brand new, but the studs just start to move in the tread of the tire, so that's how you know that it's done. So, but if you were just anyone to look at the tire, it would look brand new, and nearly if you pulled the studs out, you could use it as a gravel tire. And
Eamonn, from your own perspective, has there been support there, with regard to what do you call preparation, apart from with Matt and that, but elsewhere, are you getting support from other drivers or co-drivers with regard to advice and guidance? And you're in Finland, I believe, at the moment to do a bit of testing. What's involved in that?
Yeah, we've been definitely doing plenty of networking to try and gather as much advice as possible. As you mentioned, it doesn't snow in Ireland. You don't do snow rallies, so it is very hard to try and get go over with a setup. You do have to kind of take the limited amount of time that you have to get one. But like I said, using people's advice and trying to fast track that to get something that works based on other people's opinions is really beneficial. So that's what we've been doing. Yeah, we had a good test today, just outside Helsinki, and we had a couple of good guys up helping us, and found something that we're pretty happy with. And you're always trying to as well push the boundaries. When you're comfortable, it's then taking it up another step to see what's possible, and you eventually find something you're comfortable with. But no doubt we'll be continuously learning throughout the event. But definitely we've made use of some of the Scandinavians and taken on board good advice. And obviously the car felt pretty good anyway by the end of the day, and I was quite confident chucking it into certain corners. So it's going to be a case of trying to replicate that as much as possible in Sweden. And as William mentioned, it's really, really fast. So it's just getting used to the high speed stuff and just accepting that the car moves around no matter how good your setup is. It's just being super comfortable with that.
And William, I haven't seen pictures of the car yet. Is there a new livery for this year or anything, or what's the story with your own Rally 3?
Yeah, there is, and Blackwater Graphics put it together, and it's on the M Sport car already. So yeah, I think that'll be coming out towards the end of the week. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's similar to last year, but a few things added in, which I think stand out quite well. So yeah, looking forward to it. And yeah, like Eamonn said, the rally's going to be seriously fast. So I think it's actually going to be even faster than last year. So that's going to be interesting just to see how that goes down with everybody. But yeah, it's going to be cool.
Thanks there to Will and Eamonn. Always a pleasure catching up with them two guys. So the best of luck to Will and Liam and Eamonn and Connor. Especially the two guys, Eamonn and Connor, their first time at that level. So best of luck. We'll be watching closely. Also, since Will has got over to Sweden, they started the recce, and he's been very kind to send us on a couple of wee clips just to give us his thoughts on the 2 days of recce. And then I also get a chance to catch up with Alan Heary. He is High Performance Director from Motorsport Ireland, and I think it's a fascinating conversation that we had. Just his thoughts on what they're doing and why they're doing it and the results that we're getting from it.
Hi guys, first day of the recce at WRC Sweden done. Yeah, went quite well. Not too long a day. It's always difficult to gauge the stages. They're so fast, so it's trying to decide what's flat out and what's not. But yeah, I think if we can keep our notes accurate throughout the 2 days, then it shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, it's went well so far. We did 5 stages today, and then another 4 or 5 tomorrow. So yeah, a bit of time now this evening to look over the notes on the recce footage. We had a really good prep for the rally. We did a small national Swedish event in Lima, so we got to do 6 stages there, and yeah, they're all quite long, between 20 and 30 kilometers. So really good prep for this weekend, and we got a nice feeling in the car and tried a couple of things with the setup that some worked and some didn't work. So yeah, really beneficial to move forward now into WR Sweden. But yeah, just generally getting to drive again on the ice with a studded tyre and get into the rhythm, which is a lot of fun when you can get it right and when the stages are so fast. Yeah, it's very good. So yeah, as you can see, the conditions are good. A lot of snow. So yeah, looking forward to the second day of recce tomorrow. Hi guys, Wednesday evening here in Sweden. Another good day's recce. Stages were as expected and similar to yesterday, very fast, and obviously you can only do 70 kilometers an hour during the recce, so just trying to keep in the back of your mind that obviously you'll be coming a lot faster in the rally car and trying to grade the corner as accurately as possible. But yeah, generally I'm pretty happy with the recce. We've got a 5k shakedown stage in the morning, which is quite representative of the rally, quite fast, and then yeah, quite narrow and tricky towards the end. So yeah, looking forward to getting a bit of a feeling, and I think it'll get pretty rutted as well, so it'll be good to drive in that. But yeah, we've gone through the notes this evening. I'm pretty happy with everything, so get something to eat now, and then we can catch up tomorrow.
Okay, so I kind of have 2 hats. One is the high performance director, so pulling together everything, all the experts and stuff that we have, and we have some amazing team there to support the drivers and the co-drivers. Like, we have the likes of John Kine there and Sean McHugh, obviously running it, and we've even got the likes of Leo Nolte and Andy Walsh in terms of communication and social media, and then we have the fitness guys as well, because when it comes to performance, we're looking at overall performance, everything. And so the likes of Dermot Sheridan, for example, we were in recently in DCU getting all the lab testing done there as well for the fitness testing for all the drivers and co-drivers. And then we have a great nutrition team as well. So we've got David Nutrition. So we've got Daniel and Gemma in there working on that. And of course, we have the likes of Greg Shinner's then working with the co-drivers as well. And then, we bring in other experts who also work with the Academy guys, the likes of Philip Case, PCRS. But my job then, the first job is to look at the overall performance and how we pull it together, everything from the training, nutrition, and all of that. And then the second hat I have is the mental fitness training. So where we have somebody focused on the physical training, my job is to make sure that by the time the members sit into a car, they're focused and confidence is good, and their the level of commitment and courage is all there. So yeah, that's kind of my second.
Yeah, and we've seen the way the academy has developed over the last couple of years, and to see all these strands coming together, it's an absolutely fantastic initiative at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we pulled it together and went, they are elite athletes. So we train them and we work with them as elite athletes. You've got the best drivers and co-drivers in the country on this academy. And with every other sport, so, my own personal background is in athletics and then moved on to cycling. So that's my background from a sports perspective. But in all those type of sports, you have a team of experts working around with the elite athletes, and that's what we've done here. Is we've created that field, if you like. So yeah, it is. It's fantastic to see it, and there's no doubt it's growing as well in the strength, and it seems to be working really well for our drivers and our co-drivers.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because we've seen for putting the right team in place done for the Irish boxers, the rowers, all those things, and and that is all feeding through, and that's coming into rallying, and that will help our drivers and co-drivers to progress up the ladder as well.
Yeah, and I think the other thing as well is you've got experts coming in from other sports. So I do the mental fitness training, but I also work with a lot of professional boxers right up to world championship level or world title level, and then a lot of the Olympians in different sports as well, so the cycling and swimming and all those sports. And it means then we can look at what other sports are doing and bring that across, because I think there's a great crossover there within sports as well that we can utilize and bring in, and working with the likes of Sport Ireland as well to see how they're developing coaches through the system as well. So we're looking at all of that. So it's very exciting, to be honest, to be part of it. It's great from my perspective,
Yeah, and that probably sort of kind of half answers my next question. What you see when other sports are doing, you carry that into rallying, and you can also you can take away from rallying and carry into other sports. But
That's right.
do you tailor it to rallying or to the individual? To the likes of, say, Eamonn Kelly or a Patrick O'Brien or.
Yeah, no. What we do is there's a couple of ways that we put it across for each of the athletes, all right? We call them athletes in this respect, right? So that way we're doing co-driver and driver. And so a couple of things we do is one-to-one sessions with those guys, so that it is tailored, whether it's the fitness or the nutrition, and on my side is the mental side, it's tailored specifically for the individual. So we do the one-to-ones, but we also do development days where we pull everybody together, and there's more information in that, and some coaching and stuff coming through. And then we have this RPM, we call it. So Rally Performance Mondays, where we get together every second week and actually discuss different performance-related topics. And it's just a discussion, and it's brilliant what we can learn. And of course, you have the likes of Patrick, say, and Josh and William and Ethan, all of these coming together and everybody discussing what they're doing. So everybody kind of raises everybody else's level up, and that's what we're looking at. And it is exciting in that way,
Absolutely, absolutely. And these athletes, they are, as you said earlier, some of the finest, not only sports people, but individuals. They're great character. It's just lovely to see such grounded and dedicated young people.
Yeah, you see, this is the thing, right? So we supply the team around them, but really, they have to put in the work.
Yeah.
They have to be dedicated to it, and that's what you see, and they're putting in a huge amount of work, and people have no idea in the background really what's going on, and the preparation, the level of preparation that they're putting into the events. And so, if we look at it and go, can anyone do it? Well, yes, you can. I mean, you don't need to be a pro to think like a pro. You don't need to be a pro to act like a pro. Just the difference with this really is that we're very clear about where we want to get them and to work at the highest level. So yeah, they put in a massive amount of work themselves in the background to get the results they're getting, and they are getting some great results.
Absolutely, absolutely. And from your point of view, what have you found the most interesting thing with these young talent coming through?
I think well, there's a couple of things. So as I say, my background is coming from the cycling. My wife's family is all motorsport, so motorsport is new to me, and that can be a help sometimes because I don't mind looking stupid. So I have no problem going up and asking questions like, "Well, why are we doing that? And how is that different? Why are the Italians doing this and we're not? And how does that work?" It's the level of focus, I think, that's required, because you're at such high speeds, being able to take in the information and use it really quickly. The ability to sit on the line and be very focused on what you want to do for that stage. I think that's on a different level. To the reaction that you're able to do. And for me also, it's that confidence that if you're driving to a junction and you're absolutely flat out, and your brain is screaming that you have to brake at a signpost on the left-hand side, but you know that if you can do another 10 meters beyond that signpost before you actually hit the brakes, you're going to be, a split second faster. So therefore, you've got to overcome that little chimp in the brain that's going absolutely mental, going, no, do this. And you got to calm it down a little bit and go, we're all fine. We're going to be good. It's going to be okay. Relax. We're all right. Like, I have this. And it's that level of confidence that you have to bring in each and every stage. I think it's fascinating how these guys can do that. And it's the same, with the co-drivers and the level of preparation that they have to bring it in. And what I love about this as well is how much of a team effort it is in the car. And the more you trust you can create and the more teamship you can get within the car, obviously the better it is for both and the better the performance. And I think that's fascinating. I just love it.
Yeah, I love all that side of the whole thing. I always talk about the story beyond the story. Like the level of trust, the co-driver has in the driver has in the co-driver. They both of them have in the guy, putting on the wheels or changing the gearbox or whatever. It is such a team sport, and every element is vital.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's exactly what you say. It is a team sport. Well, for me, from the mental side of things, so the way that I look at the mental fitness, if you like, is if we take it from a physical training. So if you want to get physically fitter, we will look at your 5 S's: your strength, your speed, your suppleness, your stamina, and your skill. And we look at those 5 components, and then we'll test you on those 5 components, and we'll give you an exercise program and say, okay, we need to build your strength. So we give you that plan and we say, go away and work on that. And then we test you a few weeks later to see how you're doing with it. Mental fitness is identical. We have 5 C's: concentration, commitment, control, courage, and confidence. And so it's the same thing. So I'll look and I'll have a discussion with you about what you'd like to improve or what you feel you need to improve. And it might be something to do with, I need to control the butterflies. I need to control the nervousness as I come into an event. And so we develop a program around that, and we might give some exercises for you to actually do so that when you're in the car, you're able to control that. Now, you can't be relaxed in the car. This is the other thing that people think, I just need to relax. No, you don't, because we know that as the arousal level goes up, or the excitement, or that bit of anxiety or nervousness, performance also increases. And it gets to a certain point where we call that the flow state. You've been at times where you're just doing something, so you'll get the drivers will just be in this flow. And by the time you finish the stage, you don't even know how you did it. You just clicked, everything just came together. Yeah. And to create that, there needs to be a certain level of challenge. There needs to have that nervousness. The problem is that if that nervousness goes too high, performance then drops off on the other side. So if you like, the goal is to manage that arousal level so that we can get you into that flow state a little bit more often. Yeah, that's kind of how that works from a mental side of things.
Excellent. And is it like then, silly question, is it possible to turn that on and turn it off? We know the way rallying is, you do a stage and then there could be a 15-minute road section and then you have to hit that stage again. Like, can you, is it silly, turn it on and off? Is that the right phrase?
You're 100% right. I call it the flicking of the switches. So you're going to flick the switches to kind of to put it on and turn it off. So you can't have concentration for the entire day. So you need to be focused for a certain amount of time, let's say, to get ready. But it's actually all down to your routine coming into it. So, when you put the helmet on, when you get into the car, when you're strapped in, when you put your hands on the wheel, all of this is part of the routine. And so from the mental side of things, we look at the aspects of, there's 3 things that I'll get you to focus on, right? And anybody can do this. So if you're rallying next weekend because Galway's coming up. Woo! And so for anyone can do this. So you look at the 3 steps you're going to take in order to be able to stay focused, to build the confidence a little bit. The first is to manage the physiology. Because when we get a little nervous, things, you get into that fight or flight, heart rate increases, breathing rate becomes rapid, muscles tense up. And so what we want to be able to do is control that. So just simply slowing your breathing down or tense the muscles and then relax it will actually take control of that. The second is the visualization, all right? So we all visualize, we all have images in our mind. We create these images going in. The problem sometimes is that somebody can have a memory of something that didn't go particularly well for them the last time they were in the Galway Rally or whatever. And so we have those images going through. But what we understand from the science perspective, and so I'm obsessed with the science and my background is in sports science and health. And so from the science end, we know that your nervous system can't tell the difference between something that's vividly imagined and reality. So when you vividly imagine something in your mind as if it's really happening, your body responds. Now, the easiest way to describe how this might work is if you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and you hear someone breaking into the car outside, what happens? Heart rate goes up, breathing rate becomes rapid, muscles tense up, you reach for the baseball bat. But even if it's only a cat or a dog outside making a noise, it doesn't matter. If in your head you've seen it as the worst case scenario, your body's responding. And yet a lot of us will go to events and you're driving to the event and you're going through all of these scenarios in your head. And if you're creating that, we call it worry. So what we want to do is that second part is actually visualize what you want to create, visualize the stage as you want it to be. And then the third part is the self-talk. Look, we all have doubts. Anybody who says they don't have any doubts, they're either lying or delusional. Simple as that. We all have the doubts. It's how you manage it. And the third thing to be able to manage that is actually the self-talk, or I call it the inner coach. So we all have this little inner coach that's saying, yeah, you can do this. It's going to be great. But more often than not, the inner coach is saying, oh my God, I hope this doesn't happen, or this happened the last time and I hope this doesn't go wrong. And so that's where the doubts come. And you have to be able to manage those. So if you can manage those 3 things, and as I say, anybody can do it, then you're onto a winner. What makes it different with the academy drivers is we spend a good bit of time actually working on a specific program like that to make it part of their routine so that by the time they sit in the car, they're ready to go and they're completely focused. So yeah, that's how
they have a routine to do every morning of a rally, the same as they'll have their breakfast, they'll put on their race suit, they go through this routine. It's just part of the day.
It's part of the day, absolutely. And if you want to be really confident, Gavin, right? If you want to be really confident going into the next event, just be as prepared as you possibly can. Mm-hmm. The more prepared we are, the more confident we feel. And I think that's something that anybody can take as well from that, is just to make sure that you are prepared going into it, And then it's the lifestyle management as well. Work, your stresses from work or the stresses from studying or anything like that on the outside can affect energy. So we look at how much energy you're going to have in the rally. So if you think about it, every day you start off with a full battery. Well, the goal is to keep the battery up as much as possible, or at least slow down the rate at which that energy is going down. And you can do that through many different ways. Obviously, nutrition, getting some fresh air, what your mind is like, what sleep you're getting the night before. So all of those things help manage your energy throughout an event as well. And that's really what we focus on, is to make sure that by the time it comes to the last day and the last stage and the last corner, you're still as focused as you were on
the first stage, the first corner of the first stage. Yeah, so
that's exactly what it is. Yeah,
excellent. And this academy has become the envy of the rallying world. Is this a template that could be lifted and set down in Italy or France or wherever, or is this a very tailored thing to the Irish academy, or is there a possibility that this idea could be sold abroad? Is that the right way of putting it?
Well, it's funny because when Sean and John and I spoke to them at the start, and one of the things we were very clear on is that we create an academy that people will look at and go, how can we create that? How can we do that? So the likes of this academy is done in other sports as well, but it's not done in rallying as much as it is in other sports. There's no doubt about that, So I work with a lot of professional cyclists, for example. So I've traveled to professional cycle races where you're away for a week of stages every day. They're doing stages. And it's how we're now bringing that mentality in as well. So, what makes it unique, I think, is the people that we have on board.
Yeah.
Like we have a fantastic team of people working around it, and an amazing bunch of drivers and co-drivers who are there with the mindset of helping one another as well get better. And I think that's what makes the difference. You can get a bunch of people, but if you've got a bunch of people who are all helping one another, then we just keep raising the bar more and more and more. And it energizes us as well to do even more with it.
Because if you're seeing them reaping the rewards, you want to obviously push a higher standard from them to make the reward even better.
Yeah, and it's all about process. We've certainly set outcomes and goals of what we want to achieve, and everybody wants to see that top step on a WRC. We all want to see that, but the process is hugely important of how you actually get that, and the more we can help them focus on that process, the habits of success on a daily basis, the more likely they are to achieve it. It's funny because I was listening to your podcast from last time when you were talking to Matt Edwards, in terms of the coaching as well, and it really is that idea of preparation and just being ready in every sense of the word. So it's really good.
Yeah, I really take away from him. You have to enter that stage with a clear mind. You're not worried about what happened this morning on the way out the road or anything else. You're going in there and you want a clear head that you're fully focused on what's in front of you at that time.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great way of looking at it, actually, is that you want to be able to kind of put everything one side. So one of the things that I would do with my international athletes is I get them to wipe their feet as they step onto the plane. And it's a way of saying, I'm leaving all the crap behind me. Now, that stuff will still be there when I get home. But for the next few days, I'm now into competition mode. And I think that's one of the things that's fantastic about the guys we have on this, that they do have an ability to prepare really well going into these. And the moment they're in there, they are starting to flick the switch.
They're wiping their feet before they,
That's it. We're in now. We're now doing this. We're now switched on. We know what we have to do. And not just the drivers and the co-drivers, but as you mentioned earlier on, the team as well. So the team around it has a huge effect on how people do, and that communication within the team is also really important.
And this will ripple out. The academy, ones in the academy at the moment. They'll be talking to other drivers, other co-drivers, and they'll start picking up on some of this as well. And this will have such a positive effect right across, it'll be car 1 to car 151 will get the benefit of this as well.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why not, Kevin. That's the whole idea, I was really lucky to spend some time in the Australian Institute of Sport and doing some work down there with those guys. And one of the things that was very, very good is sharing information. And so I'd gone to, it was a conference on team development. And they had the Swans team, and they had their trainer or their coach standing up and showing every other team. Now, you got to remember, every other team in the AFL were actually there at this conference as well. And he was showing what they were going to be doing next year. So this is our plan for next year. Not this is what our plan was last year. This is what we're actually going to be doing. And I was amazed by this. I mean, you couldn't see that in Ireland. You couldn't imagine some of the top teams in, say, the GA going off and sharing that information. But when I said it to him about it, he said, well, we do it for two reasons. The first is because we want to make a sport in Australia better. We want to make our sport better. And so it raises the bar for everybody. So everybody's getting better and raising it up. And he said, and the second reason is just because it works for us doesn't mean it's going to work for them. And I think that's really important to understand. Just, it's how much work somebody's willing to put in. And not everybody's willing to put in the work that we have on the likes of this academy. So that's how it is. So of course I don't mind sharing information out there really on it. It's there for anybody, but what makes it different is that these guys are very focused on their plans. They all know, they're very clear about what they want to achieve, and they're willing to make some sacrifices to make it happen as well. And I think that's a big part of it, you know.
Yeah, you often hear people saying, "Oh, somebody such and such is lucky," but it's the work they put in to make themselves lucky, isn't it?
Yeah. How did you become an overnight success? 15 years of work.
Yeah,
it is. I actually worked with a hammer thrower, competed in 2 Olympic Games, and he owns a bar in Chicago. And he said it's one of the most annoying things. Somebody will come up and go, "And you got to the Olympics?" And he says, "Yeah." And he says, "Aren't you really lucky?" And he says, "Well, if you think I'm that lucky, you come out with me tomorrow morning and we'll scrape the snow off the circle because they throw the hammer in. We'll scrape the snow off the circle at 5 o'clock in the morning, and you can throw 60 hammers with me before we have breakfast. And we'll see how lucky you feel." So yeah, it is. So there is an element to that, yeah. No doubt.
And you talked about we'll start wrapping it up, but you talked about anyone can benefit from this. Like if you were, somebody from Car 101 in Galway this weekend called you over and said, "Alan, what's the 3 tips you would give me to help me? I'm working through the week, and if the kids at the weekend, things is busy, but what's the 3 basic steps that will help me every time I step into a rally car?"
It would be very easy for me, Kevin, to say prepare as the top 3, wouldn't it? But to be honest, that's one of them, is prepare as much as you can coming into it. I guess the second part is be very clear about what goals you're setting yourself for the rally. What do you want to achieve? And the third part is what process are you going to put in on a daily basis to make it happen? And so a lot of people already know what process they need going in and stick to that. I think that's really important, but our members as well, they're very clued in on not just what they have to do in the rally, but also what they have to improve after each rally. And I think that's really important as well. Each rally that we do is a stepping stone for each person, for things going forward as well, And I think that's really important. So there would be the 3 things. Make sure that the preparation is right, you're happy with your preparation, and then set out your goals, what you want to achieve, not just an outcome, but what process, whatever. And then the third one is get your process right, get your routines right. I think if you do that, you're well on your way to better performances.
Excellent. And can I just pick up something there? You said you learned from something after the event, like something Alex Galissimo said a couple of weeks ago when we were doing the Ken blog tribute. He says you don't learn anything from winning, you learn from your defeats. You'll always learn. You'll always get positives out of that and make it better that it won't happen again.
Yeah, I think what can happen sometimes is that performances are seen in either black and white. I won the event. It was brilliant. I crashed on the first corner. It was terrible, and that's not always the way to look at it. Even if you crash out on the first corner, you've still learned something. There were still things that went well. What went well for you? Well, I had breakfast that morning. My preparation leading into it. And then, what didn't go so well? Well, the next time I'm going to prepare a little bit better, or I'm going to, do my pace notes a bit better or whatever. So it doesn't become just black and white. It's all part of the process. And again, the guys we have are really lucky. They're really dedicated to improving. So every event for them, they're looking at it and saying, well, what went well for us? What did we take from it? How we want to improve going forward on the next time? And then the other thing as well that makes them unique and makes them really good at what they do is they engage. So, they'll ask us for help. They'll come to us and say, look, I feel I need to improve this from a performance. What can I do differently? And that's really where, you were asking earlier on, is it a generic program or is it unique to the individual? That's what makes it the uniqueness of the individual, because they're coming back and feeding it back to us in terms of what they feel they need to improve. And then we tweak the program for that individual going in, because we're all different. Yeah. You might perform really well if you've got porridge in the morning, where I might not like it. So what's the point of me eating it? I'm going to find something else that I prefer. So that's how that tends to work.
So thanks again there to Alan. I found that a fascinating conversation. I come off feeling good after the conversation. So I can only imagine what he does to them young guys and girls in the academy. Also, we didn't get a chance to catch up with him yet, but we hope to when he returns from his travels. Lurton, he's going to the Qatar Rally to sit with Al Heary, and he's also testing in Portugal for a week. And then he's not right back from that, and he's away to France then with Daniel Barry. So, he's going to have a very busy February, and he was in Galway last weekend as well too. So, Lorcan, we're looking forward to hearing about your travels when you get back again. And the best of luck to yourself as well. Also, Patrick Bride's dropped us a wee message. He is running Night Nav as part of the Midland Motor Club in the next week or two. I'm not just exactly sure on the date, but drop Patrick Bride's a message, and he's running the event. He says 60 mile. It's it was a great event. Lots of challenges there for the competitors. So get in contact with Patrick. So Connor, that's episode 3, season 2. What can we say? Until the next time, take care, speak soon, and bye.